All right, so fiber in your diet helps to promote weight loss. It could even prevent colon cancer, lower cholesterol, balance blood sugars, but you know you're not getting enough fiber. That's why we bring in registered dietitian Allie Miller with a simple recipe that she'll show us in just a moment. But we want to learn all about fiber, and she's the lady to ask. So tell us about fiber and the difference between soluble and insoluble fiber.
Sure. So when you look at food products, a lot of times now they're differentiating between soluble and insoluble fiber, and they work in two different ways in the body. They're both very important, but both have different focuses for disease prevention and different focuses on our digestive health. So soluble fiber, the word soluble means that it's able to dissolve in water, right? So I have kind of an example here. I have some glucomannan in this bowl, which is a very potent soluble fiber that can absorb 50 times its weight in water.
Wow.
So this is what we use a lot of times with our patients with weight loss because it really fills their stomach.
Up, yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And so they consume a little bit of this prior to meals. And I'll show you in the beginning how this starts to form, and you'll see this is the product completely solid.
Turns into
as
like
a gel.
Like a jelly, yeah.
Absolutely. And so this soluble fiber fills up our stomach, creates more satiety or feeling of satisfaction at mealtime, so we're able to eat less calories at the meal. Also, it pulls from our liver and lowers our cholesterol, pulls the bile from our liver to help lower cholesterol
Wow,
levels.
so we want to get plenty of soluble fiber. That's some good stuff.
Absolutely. Another thing that soluble fiber can do is it can form bowels if we're having loose stools by absorbing fluid into a loose stool, which would be
We don't
helpful
want
for
that.
prevention of diarrhea. And then another thing that the soluble fiber can do is help with blood sugar management. It helps the slowing of the release of carbohydrates.
Okay, so but do we want insoluble then also?
We sure do. So insoluble fiber we think of as roughage. So we're looking at for insoluble fiber foods, the leafy greens, the whole grains, bran flakes. Those are our traditional insoluble fiber foods. And the insoluble fiber works kind of like I have demoed here, a sponge and a broom kind of combination. So it's sponge as it can absorb water, but it isn't dissolved in water, different than the gel. And then it actually works kind of as a broom. Our intestines are kind of, they have these little fingers in them, and so it kind of works to kind of comb the intestinal tract, and that helps to create bowel movement, and it also helps to prevent colon cancer and move toxins out of the body.
So what are good places to get fiber? You mentioned like green leafy vegetables. Well, what foods have soluble fiber?
So the soluble fiber foods, we're looking more at the fruits like our citrus, apples, strawberries are wonderful sources. Brown rice and grains that are more gummy are going to be more soluble fiber, like our oats, and that's why the Quaker oatmeal can say that it lowers cholesterol levels. Beans are also a wonderful source, as well as nuts and seeds.
Okay, let's put together an easy way where you can mix fiber in with something delicious like chocolate pudding.
Yes.
How do you do that?
So this is a chia seed I'm using as my soluble fiber, and chia seed cannot absorb 50 times like glucomannan, but it can absorb 10 times the amount of water.
Okay.
So it's very soluble, very gummy, also very potent in antioxidants, calcium, potassium, and magnesium, so very heart healthy, and potent omega-3s. So we're gonna mix this into our almond milk. I have chia seeds and cocoa powder, and I'm simply gonna mix them together, and it's gonna look, the recipe is gonna be 3/4 of a cup of the chia seeds with 2 cups of almond milk and a tablespoon of the cocoa powder. And it looks in the beginning as if it's too much liquid, but as it slowly absorbs all of that fluid,
That's that soluble fiber.
right, we get that nice pudding consistency.
Now
And
that's unsweetened though at this point.
this is, so you're still gonna add in a tablespoon of the agave nectar, and then just a teaspoon of the vanilla to offset it. And you'll get a nice pudding texture like this. You can dilute it down, but I encourage my patients to do about a tablespoon or 2 prior to meals, kind of as a dietary supplement. The big thing to keep in mind, since it does absorb fluid, is to drink enough water.
If you don't drink enough water, what could happen?
Well, we always say fiber can work to make you move, or it can work like a brick.
Okay, so we don't want the brick.
No, you don't want the brick. Basically, it'll absorb all of the fluid in your colon, and then you'll have difficulty with a movement.
Okay,
So you want
well,
to stay well hydrated.
Don't do that. Drink plenty of water, and you can get this recipe on HoustonTexasFood.com. Make sure you get plenty of soluble and insoluble fiber. Allie, thank you.
Thank you.
We're feeling much healthier just having heard the last few minutes.